Welcome back. It's Weekend Express, and today we're getting you informed on all you need to do to maintain a healthy spine. This is what holds your whole body up, and therefore this is a focus that is quite vital right now. Now we're talking about this, and we have been talking about the diseases disorders rather of the spine, what we need to do, what we need to eat, the sort of exercises we have been told to engage in include yoga, swimming, and various things that will strengthen your body, basically infusing calcium into your diet, as well as making sure you do not actually exert undue pressure. Our jobs actually require us sometimes to sit for hours on end. The good doctor in the house has told us that give yourself 2-hour breaks. Don't sit down all day, don't sit in traffic all day, step out and take a walk and ensure that your spine stretches and what have you. And obviously we had Mr. Athanias giving us his personal experience with Spinal Health, and of course we're going to have more first-hand experience on that. And it's been 2 months since your operation. How have things progressed right now? You've told us that the pain has subsided. What more have you seen since that operation, the vital operation you got? What has changed so far?
After the operation, I was not able to walk for a few days.
Yeah.
And then the hospital provided walking appliances to help me get up and move around. And gradually I've been able to put it aside, because for the last 1 month I've not used it.
You're strengthening.
So I'm getting stronger every day. Yeah.
And what about the diagnosis for TB? Did you continue with medication, or how did you handle this?
The doctor told me, because after a year, that was in February, March this year.
Yes.
I asked the doctor, now that you've told me that this TB medicine I should stop taking, is there a way of ensuring or of retesting so that you assure me I don't have TB anymore?
Yes.
Then he told me that what they're doing is international standard recommended by the WHO.
Okay.
That any other TB, and he even told me that there's TB for every part of the body except the nails and the hair.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Extrapulmonary tuberculosis.
Wow.
Yes. And so we just go by the WHO recommendation that after a year, a patient who has these other TBs apart from the pulmonary TB can stop using the TB drugs and live on without them.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is manifesting pretty well as you get better and better. So the doctor was right in this instance. Now, we know often that back problems are often associated with aging, and sometimes it's comical, but it's something that is actually quite true. And very often you hear about decompression of the spine. Tell us more about this and why it is necessary for older patients.
See, the spinal canal sometimes can be narrow congenitally since birth. That is called congenital stenosis, usually seen in the lumbar region and cervical region.
Yes.
Okay. And sometimes there is called secondary stenosis because of the aging, because of the osteophyte, because of the disc. The canal gets compromised from all sides. Now these people will experience pain. If it is in the neck, like cervical, they will have weakness of the both legs or both hands.
Right.
Okay. If it is only lumbar, then they will have claudication. Claudication means if patient walks around some distance, say 500 meters, he gets pain in the legs, numbness in the legs, then he has to stop. After stopping for 5 to 10 minutes, the pain and numbness goes away.
Okay.
Again, he can walk for another 500 meters. So this goes on repeating, and the distance becomes less and less and less as time progresses.
Right.
Means initially he gets pain at 500 meters, then he gets a 400, then 300, like that.
Okay.
So in such situation, we do decompression. Usually the old operation we do is the laminectomy for a lumbar area, where we remove the posterior arches and relieve the pressure on the spinal cord.
Yes.
And similar thing is done in the cervical region also. That is called cervical laminectomy.
All right. So how does this change their life after you do the decompression?
See, it is a tight canal from all sides. It's closed. So we open the posterior rim of the canal and it relieves the pressure inside the cord.
All
And so the cord functions more normally.
And should our diets change as we grow older to maintain
For
health?
spine?
Yes.
Even
in general, bone
in general, in
structure.
old patients, what we see is the fractured spine. With some minor activity, the spine is fractured.
Yes.
Vertebral body is fractured. That is usually because of the calcium, lack of calcium, and lack of hormones in females and males.
Okay. So speaking of
So there is something called bone density test and all the things. So we can go ahead. We can go ahead with serum calcium levels and all that thing. Even a simple X-ray also sometimes give idea about the mineralization of the bone. The calcium is adequate or it is not adequate.
Yeah, because I hear about the bone density test, particularly with osteoporosis. So what can one do in terms of maintaining that sort of health? And the density should be high or low? Explain. Yeah.
No, it should be normal. What can I say? It should be normal. It is also related with vitamin D. Exposure to sunlight
So
is sometimes if you are working indoors, it becomes less. So the vitamin D level also goes down.
Yes.
That also can cause a problem with the mineralization of the bone.
Right.
So if you is suggested that there is some calcium level is dropped or the bone density is gone down, better undergo all investigations.
Yeah,
properly.
all investigations, also get some sun, and I would also wonder, is it important to take a dietary approach, or is it good to take supplements to ensure that you're...
Yeah, if it is very low, then you have to go for supplement also. Only diet may not be enough.
They might not be enough. Right, and Mr. Athenias, now you standing here, your posture is quite impressive. I'm trying to mimic you because you're sitting quite upright following the doctor's prescription. And I'm curious about, Dr. about our posture, just even in our workplace. How should we sit to ensure that we are doing well? Because most of us hunch over our laptops and our
hunching
devices.
is not allowed.
Yeah.
Even if you're working with a computer, we see that the screen should not be at the lower level. It should be at the eye level.
Okay.
So that there is no bending of the neck this. Okay. For mobiles now, we will face problem with the cervical spine because of the mobile. Because mobile people are bending their necks.
We're bending over.
That will, in future, it will create problem with the cervical spine.
So were you always this well postured, or did it start after the operation? Did you?
No, he has been taught like that, and now the healing is going on. So I want his spine to be healed in a normal posture. If he bends like this and if it's healed in a bent position, then he will have a problem lifelong.
Yes.
So that's why he is advised to sit like that.
Wow, it's quite interesting. Is there at some point of our growing up that we need lessons on how to stand, how to sit? Because nobody really tells you. Once in a while we'll be told sit upright, but even in schools you find that when you're looking at your books, we're all bent over. How can we change that?
No, the training should start from the school itself.
Yes.
In India, we have a problem with large school bags. That is causing backache in children there. I don't know the problem.
Absolutely. And what you're seeing on our screen right there are the various parts of the spine. So could you explain to us if there are some the sitting postures, are there some parts that are more vulnerable than others as we are sitting hunched over?
These lumbar vertebrae are more prone for the injury. If you sit for long, all the pressure of the head, upper body is transmitted through this disc down. And if you sit for long, they get fatigue. The muscle get fatigue, the disc also can fatigue, they can rupture also.
Okay.
So
and there's the thoracic.
This is thoracic. This is fixed with the rib cage, so there is no much movement, and the disease of the thoracic spine are very less as compared to cervical and lumbar, because these are the moving areas, and this one is a fixed area. Thoracic is a fixed area. This is a cervical. This is what I'm telling. Turning the head from one side to another side, the flexion, extension. So this is a very complex movement happening at the cervical level. So there is also degeneration and arthritis is more common in cervical
that
region
area.
also. Yeah.
Absolutely. And we are told that, oh, okay, so the top and the lumbar region are the more vulnerable areas because of their role.
Because of these are mobile sections. Others are fixed. Thoracic is fixed, sacrum is fixed. So there are no big problem with that.
Absolutely. And therefore,
Like I said, is wear and tear.
Yeah.
Wear and tear will happen when there is motion.
When there's
The
motion.
motion is there in cervical, motion is there in lumbar. So there will be wear and tear there.
Yeah. And why is it especially exercises such as yoga and swimming? Why are those two particularly recommended for back health?
Because as I said, the vertebral column is a bony structure,
Yes.
but it is also supported by very strong muscle, back muscle. Okay, and if you don't exercise, if this muscle become weak, they will give extra load on the spinal vertebral column. Okay, so the muscles should be strong. And by swimming, yoga, what you train is the back muscle. Even for physiotherapy, we train back muscle.
Okay.
And just training of the back muscle can relieve many pains.
Okay. And we are told often that
Paraplegia.
Yes.
This paraplegia is a condition where both the legs are paralyzed.
yes.
Especially it is seen in a patient with a fractured spine or some spinal cord tumor. Okay.
And often when you talk about paraplegics, you find that the injury was just an area maybe in the neck. It wasn't the whole spine that was crushed. But
In the
then
neck, it usually causes quadriplegia. There is weakness of the both arms also.
Yeah,
Okay,
but-
and legs also. But the common is D12L1, thoracic 12 and L1 injury. That is the joint, which usually gets fractured by either road accidents or trauma, or if somebody jumps from height,
Yes.
it gets fractured. Also in spinal cord tumors, it can cause paraplegia.
Yes.
And rehabilitation, nursing care is a very big subject to treatment of paraplegics. Is a very
Does
big
it always, does it always succeed in making them walk and be normal again?
Depends on the initial damage. If the cord is damaged very badly, people remain paraplegic for lifelong, and they have a wheelchair-bound life.
And they would require 24-hour care.
Yeah, there is a dependent life.
Yeah, and as in any condition, I guess early detection is the way to go, so that whatever it is, whether it's a tumor, whether it's a fracture, whether it's
Anything.
what he was going through, getting it early would enable the medics like you in this particular
For
case.
instance, if you take his example, if patient has tuberculosis of spine, if it is detected in early stages, only anti-tubercular treatment is essential. No need of any surgery. But if it becomes late, then patient requires surgery.
Absolutely. Mr. Athenias, was there a point that you think, do you think if you had gotten the diagnosis much earlier, it would have been easier for you?
I think so. This point in 2013, if the hospital had diagnosed that perhaps it was this TB and they had started the treatment then,
Yes.
maybe I would not have had to undergo surgery.
Yeah.
But again, circumstances were such that
Right.
we had to wait until
got-
these discoveries were made.
So that's what I said, for any patient with chronic pain, you have to investigate for the cause.
Yes.
What is the cause? What is the root cause for this illness?
Absolutely. So should we, often you hear people say, oh, I have my back is usually like this. This is my condition. So perhaps we should not own this condition, but actually seek medical.
Yeah, they should seek medical advice. Even I said MRI scan. Sometimes we do MRI scan just for reference.
Yeah.
Means what is your spine condition in 2019. So maybe you had some bigger problem in 2020, 22, 23. We can always compare what is the speed of degeneration or
Yeah.
changes in the spine.
So for Mr. Athenias, definitely he'll have to keep seeing you often to monitor this.
Yes.
Yeah, and he shouldn't be riding bikes or anything exertive anytime soon, I would imagine. Yeah, but moving forward, what advice in general, as we close this discussion, would you give to anyone? And obviously, how can they get in touch with your expertise in case they feel like they need that sort of specialized attention?
Yeah, 2-3 days before, this is 16th October, we celebrated World Spine Day.
Yes.
And the whole idea is to teach people and educate people about the spinal problems. Spinal problems are preventable, most of them are preventable. And spine, whatever column is the important part of your body. Once patient get backache, there are the production of the life of the patient changes.
Right.
There are too many offs and patient is not even psychologically, and this thing, patient is disturbed.
Yes. So get yourself some specialized treatment. Early detection is key. And often, I remember, we've been talking about sitting in offices, but also frequent flyers, people flying across the world for hours on end. I do believe
Even traveling in a sitting posture for a longer period will damage the vertebral
The
column.
spine.
Yes, yes.
So even mid-flight, you should stand and stretch and twist your back and...
Yeah, you have to do maintenance.
Yeah. So we are being joined by Kendagor Silvano on phone to give us his take on this discussion that we are having. What's your take, Mr. Kendagor?
Yes, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes.
This is Silvan Kentawar. I called from Baringo, Parweza. Nilikuwa na swali moja ambaye ningependa kuuliza daktari
Uliza.
kwa sababu I'm blessed so much kwa yale ambaye nimeweza kusikia leo. In our family tuko na hiyo shida kwa sababu as I remember tumeweza nimeweza kupoteza baba, yani my father's brothers watatu kwa sababu ya hiyo ugonjwa ya TB.
Okay.
The last I took my dad to the hospital na sijui kwa nini iliweza kurudi. Nilipeleka hospitali tukaweza kuambiwa ni TB na mwishowe aliweza kuaka na hatukuwa najua kwamba inaweza rudi.
Pole.
What makes shida ni kwa nini inaweza affect mkono ingine, kwa sababu tulikuwa nafikiria ni stroke na mwishowe tukaambiwa kwamba
Much, Mr. Silvano. So he's wondering why it is recurring for him. But we'll take another call from Omar Jamar. Hello? Omar, can you hear me? Hello?
I can hear you very clearly.
Yes. Please give us your take on this discussion.
Yeah, my discussion is that I had a problem of nerve.
Nerves.
Yes, and I had done an operation 2016 in India,
Yeah.
a place called Ahmedabad.
Okay.
What I could prefer, if you get interested with that query of the spine, I still have some pain at the back.
All right.
Yeah, what I could like have one thing to know the contact of that doctor.
Yes.
Where does he stay and how to get contact with him?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So we'll be putting that information out. So let's start off with Mr. Kendagor, who told us about a recurring condition, TB,
spine.
yeah, of the spine, yeah, in the family. Could this
Is
be?
TB spine?
Yeah.
All people?
Yeah, he has said that several people in his family have gotten this condition and it keeps recurring. So could it be an environmental element?
As I said,
Yeah.
the infections are common in patients who either are like diabetic or
Yeah.
immunocompromised or these things. So we have to search for that. Another thing is some resistant tuberculosis.
Okay.
We have found medically resistant tuberculosis.
Yes.
Okay. So if it is one of the case, then we have to change the anti-tubercular plan totally.
Okay.
That can help him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And about the second call, that was the reason I'm telling you. People get operated in India or somewhere else, but in spine patient we require follow-up.
Yeah.
They have issues for at least 6 months after the operation or up to 1 year after the operation. They require rehabilitation,
Yes.
proper training, physiotherapy, some pain control, everything. So like this patient told me that he got operated in India, but it happens that they go only for operation. After that, there is no follow-up.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
the doctor is also helpless in such
To-
situation.
Yeah, to ensure that it's effective. And I would like to imagine if this patient has gone across the waters to another country, they would constraints?
No,
would
it
you-
is at least they arrange for operation, but just for follow-up they cannot go there and
Live
come
there.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
and doctor requires follow-ups. There should be multiple follow-ups. Like he is coming every monthly to me. Sometimes it is just a visit, hello, hi, but that is also helpful for the patient.
Yeah, so that means that when they come back, they need to find a specialist like you who would actually help them keep up with the healing process.
healing process.
Because it's not possible to pitch tent abroad, especially if your finances do not allow it.
That is not possible with many people in Kenya.
And that's why there needs to be a shift, I would imagine, from going abroad for treatment to having it locally, because if your doctor is miles away, there's only so much they can do over phone, I'd imagine.
No, now we operated patients from Somalia, Rwanda, Burundi.
Wow.
They are coming for follow-up here. They are happy here because this is a very near distance for them. Then to go to India and come back.
Yeah, and in terms of the short rehabilitation period that they can have, are there facilities for them to maybe stay associated with MediHealth that could help them? Yeah. Okay, so accommodation is also something.
Everything. We're actually in becoming a medical hub for this area. We're trying to do it.
All right, so hopefully that will be a solution to many of the problems that are caused by having to go abroad to seek medical attention. And like he said, he wants to know how he can find you. So could you tell him your number or the location where he can find you?
MediHealth Hospital, Parkland, he can come.
Yeah, MediHealth Hospital in Parklands here in Nairobi. Yeah, you can find him here, and he is going to attend to you based on whatever you need, because you have had this treatment as we have. And we have insisted that the follow-up is quite important. So get in touch, MediHealth Parkland Hospital, that's in Nairobi. Oh, we have another phone call. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, as we get in touch with our caller this morning, feel free to call us and be a part of the conversation, or even SMS us at 22155, and we'll be sampling your views as the discussion goes on. We're also on Twitter. You can tell us what you feel about this, what your experience has been, and of course what you feel needs to be done in terms of health provision in the country and spinal health. What has been your experience? We want to know, and we'll make it part of the discussion. Right now we're joined by William. William, where are you calling us from, and what is your take on this discussion on spinal health?
I'm calling from Nandi.
Aha.
I wanted to ask the doctor who is on your screen.
Yes.
I was diagnosed last month
Okay.
with a spinal problem. They told me it's lumbar 3, lumbar 4
Right.
as a problem. I've been using medication for the last 1 month, but still the pain is still on.
Okay.
Yeah, I've not yet got any from the pain. I'm still having a lot of pain.
All right.
I go back to the doctor, and the doctor told me that go on using painkillers.
All right.
But these painkillers sometimes has a lot of problems. So I wanted to know from the doctor, what can I do now? Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. William Kiplimo. Dr. Gatgari, what's your take on his condition?
He's feeling there is some problem with L2, L3.
Yes.
I think we should see his MRI report and all that thing. Then only we can decide.
Yeah.
As I said, painkiller you can take for temporary period, but long-term painkillers are dangerous.
Yeah.
So we should think of some other alternative, like I said, physiotherapy or some surgical possibility also we have
intervention. Now I'm getting the same concern that Athenias had about the painkillers. Yeah, so we need to get to the bottom of it. And certain problems such as spinal conditions, he can give his advice, but clearly there's other elements that need to be investigated before he can actually figure out what the real problem is. MediHealth is the hospital, as we told you earlier on, and you can get in touch with Dr. Gatgari for further investigation. Now, Agnes is calling in on the same issue. Hello, Agnes. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Make your contribution or your question.
My question is to the doctor.
Right.
What causes osteophytes? And how can they be minimized?
Okay.
And the other question is, how can somebody strengthen the bones?
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Agnes. Osteophytes, what are those even?
Osteophytes are you can call it degenerative changes, and they are found most of the joints. And this is a part of aging process. And as I said, you like how much spine you are using, how much movement you are doing is individual. So we find some people osteophytes are too many or too big.
Yeah.
And as I said you, sometimes they require operation for, there is pressure from the osteophyte also. So we have to do decompression for these osteophytes.
Yeah.
Another thing, a question was that how to strengthen the bone. To strengthen the bone, I tell you, in diet you should have enough calcium, like milk products and all. Okay, and sometimes hormones also cause demineralization. So you have to do this bone densitometry, serum calcium level, and get the treatment accordingly.
Okay. And those are, and so.
And exercise. I said exercise will strengthen the bone, strengthen the muscle. They help to deposition of calcium in the bones. So exercise is very important.
Absolutely. So exercise and calcium into your diet will help strengthen your bones and, of course, better spinal health. And this is quite interesting that it seems like a lot of people do experience this, but they're in far-flung areas, unable to get the right, advice on.
Spine problem is very common problem because of the upright posture. Every day we are maintaining the upright posture. Spine is the one who is getting all this load, carrying the load of the body every day.
Yeah.
So spine problems are very common. I said like low back pain, there are 1 billion people in the world with only low back pain.
Absolutely.
So it's very common. Yeah.
Absolutely, and very interesting conversations we've had right here on spinal health. Thank you very much for those who have called in and contributed. Somebody's asking if Panadol is enough to treat some people. I mean,
Panadol is not enough, but it is one of the safe analgesic, I will say.
Yeah.
There are no kidney issues with Panadol, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. There's more to it than just taking Panadol, but clearly, if your problem is serious, you really do need to be seeing a specialist. And we're going to leave the conversation at that. It has been very informative, and thank you for those who have called from home just to get more information from that. You have been a part of the conversation, and perhaps your question have also helped further inform more people. And of course, thank you for being a part of the conversation. This has been Dr. Hiten Gatgari of Medihealth Hospital, as well as Mr. Awar Athenias, who has suffered this and had an operation and is on the way to recovery. Thank you so much, gents, for being a part of this very valuable discussion. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more for you right here on Weekend Express.